Does Samuel L. Jackson like anime?
Yes, I do. Hentai too.
So, at last, finally, One Piece trailer. One Piece live action, that is. Something I think majority of fans have been dreading to hear ever since this whole anime into live action thing started happening with Netflix. But that's already a dead beaten horse. We know none of them are good, really. And if you're someone who just enjoys and wants the source material to be respected as much as anyone, then this trend has been like hell for you, and my condolences. This is a little late, honestly. Really just took me a minute coming from vacation to get back into the swing of things. And what better way than with a trailer reaction, something I've never done before. So here we go. Obviously this isn't a one-to-one, but just general thoughts and a few notes I'd like to put out there in the void, if I may. This is coming from someone who is a fan. The way I've approached the material on my end has primarily been through the manga. I'm completely caught up, and with the anime, I've only seen particular arcs of my choosing that I thought would be the most interesting to see in motion, those being East Blue, Alabasta, Marineford, Whole Cake, and Wano. And I've seen most of the movies, but not all, so as a whole I'd say I'm definitely more an above average general knowledge fan, if that's a thing. I'm not a living glossary like Tekken 101, which, if you're any level of a One Piece fan, absolutely check his channel out. He is another inspiration of mine starting YouTube to begin with. Anyways, with One Piece, the further the chapters progress, and especially with it being in the final saga of arcs, it's become increasingly difficult keeping up with all the names and lore bits that are slowly being revealed and mentioned after its 25-year stretch. My relationship with the series is anything but uninvolved. I'm always hungry to learn more about One Piece lore that I never knew before. One of the biggest appeals to the material is just how wide and diverse the islands and the characters' history can go. It's as involved as you want it to be. In a way, it reminds me of the lore from a FromSoft game. Playing it, you can understand the main thread of the A-plot which is happening, but learning more about the surrounding areas and how things came to be adds so much more depth and access when engaging it in subsequent playthroughs. One Piece is the same way for a lot of people, I think. Of course, the big questions we want answered are important. If you're just in it for learning what the One Piece is, then that's really all you need to get started. But starting this journey from beginning to present day, you get introduced to so much more than just the inquiry of the final goal. There's long stretches of time in the story where you almost forget about the One Piece altogether. There's so much more going on, and beyond the journey to Laugh Tale, I find myself so sucked into the side mysteries introduced. The Will of D, the Void Sentry, Pluton, the significance of Joy Boy. There's just so much more than just the One Piece that's happening. So, going back to the trailer, did I like it? Yeah, as a whole. Surprisingly, I didn't react as badly as I thought I would. But that kind of comes with a toll, because honestly, I reacted and felt similarly to the Netflix Cowboy Bebop teaser, if anybody remembers that. To me, the tone and aesthetic presented in the teaser to Bebop I felt was pretty faithful. The music was there, I really enjoyed the wacky editing with the black bars. It was really neat and had pretty moderate hopes for the show, I think as a whole, until it came out. And as you can imagine, fool me once, yada yada, you know. The One Piece trailer itself had a very similar feeling. It was honestly not a bad trailer, and the music was the best part in my opinion. And it did a great job tugging at the heartstrings and made me super nostalgic, especially with East Blue being one of my favorite arcs of the series. But here's the reality, folks. It's only 8 episodes.
What?
All the crew is there minus Chopper, Frankie, Robin, and Brooks. The rewriting is inevitable, and majority of us knew that from the start. If we do the math, it's about 2 episodes per Straw Hat crew to be introduced. Assuming, at least, which it seems like Nami will be involved with a fight to free Zoro early on, which already with that difference to me, it's not terrible. I'm not screaming in rage so far. The negatives I have aren't so much like, oh my god, this is trash, it's more concern. The biggest elephant in the room is of course the CGI. We see one main shot of Luffy using his powers to punch Alvida, and then this one quick shot when freeing Zoro from capture. Only judging on that, it looks alright. It still hasn't crossed into cringe territory so far. They're trying to keep it grounded, which, for what it is, I think those shots are fine. Honestly, the shot of the Lord of the Coast sea monster, Jesus, which bites Shanks in the beginning of the story looks really solid. The dialogue is a change of pace from the anime and manga, but that's to be expected. So long as the serious moments aren't hindered by Marvel-esque quips at every scene, then I'm fine with it personally. Buggy, of course, looks awesome. He's a lot of people's favorite reveal in the trailer, and I get it. There's a chance here, I think, that they may lean on Buggy being a little more crafty and menacing than he is in the anime. For someone like this, I think it could be an interesting take on the character too. That's not to say any difference is unfaithful. The only faithfulness I think we really need right now for this season is in the hallmark beats and tone. Season 1 has to rely on the backbone of this crew. because the further this version of the story progresses, if it does, should be what keeps people wanting to come back. It's the crew, it's the Straw Hat crew. They're like family to a lot of people. The casting from the people we've seen in the trailer that talk are fine so far. Zoro's actor Makenyu Arata, thank God I said that correctly, already has this presence with his look and delivery that I think is a perfect fit for the character. Luffy is for sure the one everyone is talking about. Overall, positive, and I'm in that camp. He seems to really be having fun, which shines through and helps with it being the kind of person that Luffy is. Although just personally, I do think it's a little funny that he has a bit of a Spanish dialect. Hearing him say gum gum pistol made me laugh a bit, because in my head I couldn't help but to think of this really awful version of where he's like gomu gomu no pistola ese. It's just fucked as fuck. But seriously, he's great in the trailer. The scar on his cheek too, I think, is a great way to present that, versus it being a black line. Although that little stitch thing too, I don't know if that should that be part of the scar too? I mean, it could have just been one, anyways. It could have been just one line, I'm just saying. And then to branch from that, Sanji doesn't have twirly brows and Usopp doesn't have a long nose, which is fine. We'll live, it's okay. No need for the torches and pitchforks just yet. The real question is, and best case scenario, all the episodes are at least an hour long. Is that enough time to develop and establish the points to this story that's needed for this version of One Piece? And the hardest pill to swallow, which I think every fan needs to take before watching the show if we have any chance to at least appreciate this, will be that this is a new version of One Piece. I was telling my brother how maybe we should go into this the same way with the Dark Knight movies. They're mostly original stories with some significant moments from the Batman comics that are referenced in the movies. But as a whole, it's its own thing. Of course, the mystery of the One Piece is the underlying point, but whether the subplots of the Poneglyphs, Will of D, Joy Boy, Void Sentry, all of that will be included, still remains to be seen. And for the most part, the East Blue focuses on just the assembly of the crew. You know why Luffy wants to do this, and you're along for the ride. I also thought that another approach to this could be that this is just a new universe altogether. Of course, this is not canon per se to the manga, logistically it can't be, so think of it as like a multiverse or whatever. That's the craze nowadays, right? How much more they'll add to the story I think will simply depend on whether we get a season 2 or not. So for now, I think we just need to focus on the presentation and dynamic of the crew's friendship for the time being with the season. In a way, that's playing it safe. They need to build our confidence and trust with the project before they can start to make those big commitment leaps with the story, minus the One Piece itself, obviously. As long as there aren't any abhorrent rewrites of the main story like what they did at the end of Netflix's Cowboy Bebop to keep the story going, One Piece is not something you can fuck with in that way, and of course with any beloved franchise, especially anime. This is a bit of a side note, so sorry, kind of a detour. I know how much have we actually talked about the trailer? I'm just all over the place, anyways. But I think it's funny how contrasted to the Disney live action remakes, anime live action most of the time is met with really intense negative reaction. The same can be said with Disney stuff, but there's a way bigger crowd that actually enjoys those in comparison with the animes. The way they approach Disney live action, it seems, in all honesty, I think, is the way a lot of people in the anime community, to my understanding, would want their live action remakes to be made. A simple one-to-one telling with very little deviation to the original, minus of course cuts or additions to appease corporate whatever the hell they're fucking doing, you know what I mean. And maybe there's a case where that could be done if they absolutely contractually had to do this, even though literally nobody wants this. I don't know anybody who's like, oh, it'd be a really good idea, let's do a Death Note live action, because you know what, the anime just didn't do it for me. I need to see real people, 'cause that's the only way I can engage in this. Bullshit, shut the fuck up, nobody says that. It all of course depends on the source material. Case in point, doing One Piece as literal one-to-one is impossible and really can only end in disaster. It's just way too wacky and out there. Cowboy Bebop, I thought honestly it was going to be the first good one, I really thought it was gonna stick, because it's so grounded. It's not really that wacky. I mean, it's just good. It's just really good noir, and I feel like at least with noir, that's it's been done before, so why couldn't we have that with Cowboy Bebop live action? I don't know. It's on the smaller side of those classic series too, but they couldn't just follow the story that everybody loves and had to take changes to draw it out longer. Another case in point is Ed. She was exactly how she is in the anime. You can't deny that. And that's the problem doing anime live action super accurate to how it's written. It's a whole different genre of medium and pacing of storytelling and acting as well. Aaron Perkins, it's not your fault. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You taught us all an invaluable lesson. What'll happen is if we get a one-to-one, of how it is in the anime or in the manga, or like interpreted that way. I'm looking at you. You don't fuck it up. You're going to fuck it up, but don't fuck it up. I'm gonna be pissed anyways. In wrapping this up, the easy short answer is they shouldn't be doing any of this to begin with, but it's not going away. We have a Yu Yu show coming, which I'll definitely cover, and a My Hero movie as well, which will be interesting. There's also Sword Art Online, and Avatar, and also a Death Note series as well, which I guess will just retcon the movie, thankfully. This has kind of been all over the place with its subjects, but the teaser has already been analyzed to death by people who are way more involved and bigger fans of One Piece than me. It's a good premiere showcase. I'm ready for a full-length trailer, which I think will really prepare us for what to expect going in. But whatever happens, guys, even if it's trash, it'll never take away from the original. Thank you guys for tuning in. All social media inserts will be inserted below. Hope you guys have a good day. You guys take care.